The universe made us not miss meth. Okay, there we go. That's my brother right there. I call him the Tacalian Stallion. I don't care what y'all call him. I call him the Tacalian Stallion. Method Man. What's happening, bro?
My life.
If Meth was actually, if he was here with me right now, he would literally be trying to pick me up. Now this man.
Yes, I would.
Okay, in the 90s, man, how much did you weigh in the 90s, man? Like, how much did you weigh?
Geez. I say about $185.
So this man is $185. And
Yeah.
he's running up, lifting up a 330-pound man like it's nothing. Now, anywhere I go, I don't care if I'm in Atlantic City, I don't care if it's in Germany, on site. As soon as I see him on site, I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it was. I don't know, man. I don't know. Why did you do that?
I don't know. I was just, you know what? Every time I saw you, it was basically at a show, right? Backstage, right? It was my, what do you call it? What do they call it, Ray? I'm high and shit. Adrenaline, there you go.
Yes, your adrenaline.
My adrenaline, yes.
So to release your adrenaline, or you were so fucking hyped up, you would just go pick up a 330-pound man. So go figure, man.
Plus, I love you like that, Scoop. I love you, bro.
And you know, right back at you, bro. Let's start from the top, man. The first thing because I was looking all over for information. On Saturday, I was so high that I couldn't even put my sentences together. So I couldn't do this interview. Sunday and Monday, when I started searching, one of the first things I saw is the record, The Boom. And of course, it's connected to a lacrosse league. I would never think Method Man played lacrosse. What's that about? And how did you get involved in that?
I had a cousin that put me on the lacrosse when I was like, 9, 10 years old. I know I played for 4 years. I mean, it was. I had played football the previous year, so you know, in Long Island, anybody that's from Long Island, they'll let you know sports is all year round. When you're not playing football, you're playing basketball or baseball. If you're not playing basketball or baseball, you're playing lacrosse. You know, it all just revolved in the same circle, and sometimes you played them all. And I just took to lacrosse, man. I just loved the sport. I liked how, you know, it was just my kind of sport, just rough.
Hold on. When I think of lacrosse, I think of young white women from the suburbs playing that game. I don't think of anything rough about it. What's rough about that, bro? And
that's the sad part about it, but not really sad because the girls represent big time. I mean, some of the top lacrosse players are females. My thing is, the credit needs to go to the indigenous people who invented the sport, you know, and a lot of the players who are in the league, they know this and they always give props up, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just going to let it be known right now, lacrosse was done first by the indigenous people.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So let's move forward a little bit. You're in Staten Island. How do you wind up on Staten Island, New York?
Oh man, I'm a Long Island kid at heart, you know. That's where my mom met my dad. That's where I was born at. It just, you know, happenstance. We was living in Brooklyn, and the lady that we were, you know, basically that worked at the place we were staying at, she lived in Staten Island, and when our time was up at this place, we went to Staten Island to stay with her until my mom found a place, and been there ever since.
Wow, that's crazy. When did you realize that you had music in you that needed to be let out? Because now you're a young kid in Staten Island, you're out there, you're probably doing a bunch of different stuff. When do you realize that this is something that you have, it's a talent, and you want to do it?
I always loved music because I grew up in you know, most black households played music. And regardless to what your parents listened to, whether it was gospel or, you know, maybe they listened to a lot of that funk, you know, my parents, they pretty much listened to everything. And my aunts and uncles pretty much listened to everything. 8-tracks were big. So any song that I liked, you know, I would memorize. And one day, you know, when I moved to Staten Island, this is when we moved back to Staten Island. It was like 84, I believe, 84. I came back. We moved to Park Hill, and you know, I'm running into different people in school and stuff. IS 49 Dreyfus, shout out to Dreyfus. And myself and Raekwon clicked. I used to walk home from school with him, and one day he was like, "Yo, why don't you just hang out with us on the block?" See, I'm just a youngin' now. I'm like 11, 12 years old. I ain't never really like hung out. I'm from Long Island. I was a jock. I hung out with other jocks. You know, we did, you know, football and shit like that. I go to hang out with the dude, you know, and that's when I found out hanging out was basically standing around doing jack shit. And that's what we did, you know. But in the midst of that, somebody rolled up. We wound up in the staircase. And these niggas just started kicking these rhymes, man. And up to that point, I had never seen nobody do it live before. It was always like, I felt like the people that were doing it were professionals. And that's where it lied at. But these dudes were saying rhymes better than some of the cats that was on the radio. So I was intrigued, like, holy shit, you know? So when I moved back to Long Island, you know, because we was all crew by then. I wrote my first rhyme with Raekwon the Chef and shit, you know, but I just had that one rhyme. When I moved back to Long Island for a brief stint to stay with my pops because I was getting out of control, you know, I started smoking weed and all this shit. My moms couldn't take that shit, you know, 12, 13 years old. Sends me back to my pops. And all those rhymes that they used to say in the staircase, because, I mean, we did this constantly, damn near every night. And it was mostly the same rhymes. Every now and then you get a new one. But those rhymes that they were saying to me in the staircase became my rhymes when I moved to Long Island. Nobody knew that shit. They thought it was mine.
Right.
And once I ran out of material, I had to start writing my own. That's when I got nice. When I came back to Staten Island, you know, I was ready to bump heads, you know. Dudes was like, yeah, yo, he got nice. He doing his thing right now and shit, you know.
Right.
And I became one of those guys.
So now, there was no Wu-Tang Clan. It was just you and Raekwon at this time, right? It was like
Nah, we all knew each other.
Collective of you guys.
Nah, that shit, that Wu-Tang, the name Wu-Tang was in Stapleton first, you know what I'm saying, with Ghosts and RZA, you know. But if you ask them, they'll argue between you on who started this shit and who brought it up first. I remember RZA gave me and U-God the name Wu-Tang one time and shit, because we was like rap partners. But in the midst of all this, we all knew each other. Ghost, Dirty, Chef, all of us, because RZA was the common denominator between everybody. And he was making music in his crib. And we would just go there and record, make little tapes and shit like that that was circulating the hood. We was like ghetto superstars, whatever and shit. But yeah, we all knew each other. We all rhymed together, but not together. It was just something we did. It was, yeah, because I'll take you back to when like I said, when I hung out with Ray that first time, the first shit we did with hanging out was we just stood on the block doing nothing until somebody said they had half. Back then, half was $2.50 because you get a nickel bag of weed. So if this nigga got $2.50, he got $2.50. All you need is a scar. Go up in the staircase, and it was the same way. I mean, I could have hung out with niggas that smoked crack all day. I could have hung out with niggas that drank 40s all day. I could have hung out with the basketball court niggas. You know, it was so many different areas I could have been in. But for some reason, I gravitated to the music niggas. And, I mean, you see where it got me.
Now, so when you went into the staircase, that was your first time actually getting high, right?
Nah.
It was before that?
Nah. It was after.
It was after.
Yeah.
So as you know, and as I told you yesterday, Friday was the first time I ever got high.
You crazy too, Scoop.
Yeah, but you told me, you said the edibles hit different. I didn't understand that. I had no idea.
They do. Them shit hit way different.
What was your first time? Do you remember your first time getting high? And we'll go to that later, but I just want to know now.
Yeah, I do.
What happened?
Yeah, you always remember the first time. All right, the feeling or the whole episode?
Just the feeling, the whole episode, whatever.
All right, we was in my boy Blunt's crib, and this was like my second time up there. And the first time we was up there, I was just holding the smoke in my mouth, blowing it out. I didn't understand the concept of smoking. So Blunt looking at me and shit when the blunt came back to me, and he was like, "Yo, you know how to smoke, man?" I was like, "Nah, not really." He was like, "Let me show you something." He said, "You ever hear Ooh La La Sassoon? Remember that Ooh La La Sassoon?"
Yup, yup.
He had me do my hands like this. He did his hands like that. We locked them together. He was like, "When I blow this smoke in here, I want you to put your mouth on your hand. When I start blowing the smoke, I want you to breathe in slow." I was like, "All right." He started blowing the smoke. He said, "Do not do it until I tell you to." He blowing the smoke, hand filling up with smoke. He was like, "All right, breathe in." Coughing. I remember the first sensation was burning. I ain't want no more. Then he made me do it 2 more times, back to back. And I remember because I was coughing so hard, my whole face was buzzing from the cough.
Right.
And then I just felt it. I just felt it go through my head like chimes.
Right here, right? Right here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like chimes and shit, right? So I lay back on the bed, and when I laid back on the bed, it felt like I kept falling back and falling back and falling back, right? So I'm laying there, I close my eyes, and I'm like, oh, so this is what my moms and pops was doing all this time.
Right.
Wow. I love it. And I've been in love ever since, man, you know? I remember one more thing that I noticed when I used to smoke. I don't get it anymore, but when I first started smoking, everything I ate, when I swallowed, I could literally feel it going down. Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy.
so I guess that I had a first time high experience because when I did it, I ate the cookie and I said, "Man, this cookie ain't shit, man." I mean, I was sitting down hanging out, and then I went to go get another piece of the cookie.
Played
Right?
yourself right there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter said. She said you played yourself. And when I grabbed it, I said, "This cookie ain't shit." And then my body just said, and then I was stuck. I couldn't move. Now I walked to my daughter's room, and she has a red light in her room. So the red light had me bugging, and I was looking in the mirror. I was like, "Yo, get me the fuck out of here! Get me the." I'm bugging. So she walks me to my room, and I'm crying. Yo, Meth, I'm crying. I'm like, "I love my kids. I love my fucking kids." It was a therapist. I was hallucinating. There was a therapist asking me, "Do you love your kids?" I love my fucking kids. Like, I was tripping, bro. I was tripping. And then when I went to drink water, everything in my throat, it was stopping. And it was hurting.
You sure you took an edible? Somebody might have gave you some other shit, man.
No. It's legit.
No, I believe you. I believe you because I you know, I'm like King. You know, I don't get high off that shit. I ate a brownie, 1,000 milligrams. I said, fuck it, ate the whole thing. I was hungry too, so I'm the whole fucking thing. Shit don't affect me like that. I shit you not, man. It was the worst trip I ever had, ever, smoking weed, and I passed out off weed before because if you smoke too much, like I just jumped out of bed, ran to go to the city with dudes, and never ate, didn't eat. If you smoking back to back to back to back, and you ain't eat, trust me, and the New York heat, your ass is gonna pass out. But this was something different, man. It was like the room spinning. I felt like vertigo, as well as my stomach hurting. I didn't know if I could shit or throw up or fart. I was just trying anything. And you know, you just gotta ride that motherfucker out. Somebody said orange juice. I tried that before, and that shit had me throwing up.
So now my thing was that I felt like I was in a sunken place. I was in the bed, but I couldn't get out of the bed.
That's that like, shit.
Let me out. And then the man said, "Get up." And when I went to get up, I went to the bathroom. He said, "Apologize for everything you did." He was like,
say word.
Yo, bro, I was tripping, man. So I know your worst experience and your best experience. How do you function? How do you actually function when you're high? How are you able to function? What do you do? Because this is my first experience. How are you able to continue what you do, man?
Well, I didn't always function on it. You should see some of my old interviews. I was fucked up. You know what I mean? I just know there's a time and place. I mean, now in hindsight, When I work, I don't smoke. I mean, as far as acting and things of that nature, never have to worry about me bringing anything like that to set because I have to be in the right state of mind and weed will mess that all up. But when you're a musician and you're talking about creative juices flowing, it enhances it, if you ask me. So it's easy to work when you just creating and you smoking. That's the easy part. But when it comes to like red carpet, celebrity, pre-Grammy parties and things of that nature, I always felt anxiety socially. The anxieties of everybody in the room either going, no, I'm high, I think I'm high, and at the end of the day and shit, it was just me being me, being my worst critic and then just paranoid from the weed and shit. But yeah, I don't. It's hard to function on. Now they have marijuana that's you got your sativas. Some sativas you can work out on. You can freaking create all day, and then they got that indica shit that you fall asleep with the blunt in your hand in the bed type shit.
Right. Now,
yeah, that's that other shit.
You just dropped what you call a socially conscious line. Explain that for people who don't understand what a socially conscious line of weed is.
Sativa, well, the socially conscious weed is something that you can smoke and still function in a public setting. Still have your wits about you, still be able to speak in coherent sentences. And then there's that other shit where you talking like this and I'm starving. I'm just trying to go get some cookies and some shit real fast from the store, a little milk and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's where all that shit come from. Everything just seemed funny as fuck.
Now, none of it was funny to me. It was wild. When I call you, I'll go through all of it because I don't want to waste this time talking about it. When I talked to Snoop said he went into Biggie's session, and Biggie was smoking some New York weed, and he brought him, quote unquote, that thing that killed John Wayne. Who are the rappers that can outsmoke you, and have brought you some stuff that like knocks your socks off? Like what is this?
Only time I ever got out smoked was at Daz Dillinger crib. And that was my first time really hitting a bong. And they had some orange kush. This is the first time I ever looked at weed and seen the orange leaves coming out of this bitch. It tasted delicious too. Yeah, I mean, that shit finished me. 3 hits. I was inside the couch like this, in the pillows. Right. Mad uncomfortable. Like, yo, they like, yo, get Meth, that nigga stuck. That was it. But anybody else, I don't know, man. But if I had to choose, you gotta be. I mean, Snoop is up there. Well, I mean, what you gonna do with that? Even maybe Wiz, but I only smoked with Wiz once. We didn't have the marathon. I had a marathon with B Rizzle. That was crazy. Me, B Real, and Proof. Me, B Real, and Proof. I'm the only nigga really brought some weed and shit. That shit was over quick. It wasn't really a marathon and shit. I thought we was gonna be smoking all night and shit, but the shit turned into like philosophical grown people talk. Cause Be Real. If you know anything about Be Real a very smart motherfucker and shit. You know what I'm saying? And when he's smoking shit, he get real philosophical. He'll draw you in. Next thing you know, man, it's like, wow, I really fucking learned something tonight. Thank you, Dr. fucking Green Thumb.
Right. So he's like on some socio-economic, geopolitical shit when he smokes weed. He's not falling out in a chair. He's going to educate you.
He's going to tell you what he's smoking, what went into making it, how they got the shit here, who made it. He going everything about it. The guy's a freaking genius, man.
I never knew that. So let's go back to the Wu-Tang real quick.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give you a line. You tell me what it is. Wu-Tang members.
Yeah.
The member of the Wu-Tang you could talk to all day.
Oh man. Ooh. RZA definitely. Jamel, Master Killer. All of them really, but sheesh. Ghost. But Ghost be making me want to cry sometimes and shit, man. That nigga heart so big and shit. He just want to cry talking to Ghost and shit, man.
Yeah, Ghost.
He had a hell of a life story. Yeah.
Ghost's outer personality is one of somebody who will smack the absolute dog shit out of you. So I would never expect that. When I think of Ghostface Killer, I think of the guy you don't test him. So to hear that is like real crazy. But
see, that's the point though. See, if Ghost love you, he love you. You know what I mean? If you family and shit. But if he don't like you, that's that other side right there. But if he don't know you, you know how niggas move and shit, man. We don't know these niggas and shit. We gonna stay over here for a second, see what's really popping. Yeah. See what they bout first, you know? I mean, he all around real dude. He got a hell of a story. Maybe one day he'll invite us all in and tell the rest of it, because that of Mike's and Men, that was one of the highlights of the whole documentary right there. Mm-hmm. Ghost was talking about his family, you know? Yeah. The things you don't know about people and shit, right?
Listen, I loved it. And I mean, every time I see Ghost, it's always a long conversation. He's another person who talks to you about some real shit. One Wu-Tang member you could be stuck on the island with forever.
Ah, shit. Goldie, because he'll keep my heart up. You God and shit, because we be arguing all day, back and forth and shit. That's my guy, though, man. You know, I love that dude to death, man, for real.
Most strategic Wu-Tang member?
RZA, Jizza, pick one, shit. Killer. Yeah, they the most strategic in my opinion and shit. The way they attack shit, you know. Yeah, those three.
Loose cannon.
Killer. I ain't gonna even play the guy like that.
Well, I would think ODB would have been the loose cannon. Man.
Oh yeah. ODB is definitely a loose cannon. Who else? None of us really. You know, I was a little loose too and shit, but mostly dirty. Oh, dirty. Yeah. The rest of the dudes was. You gotta understand, like we used to walk in the room and it get quiet and dark. You know what I mean? Like it was like they go to Wu-Tang niggas. All right, nigga, watch your jewelry, nigga, watch your pockets and shit. You know. But I don't know. I don't know. You gotta niggas was serious, man. You couldn't play no games back there. We was coming from an era where motherfuckers had on like they was putting on suits and shit. Shiny, not even the Puffy. This was before Puffy and them even started doing this shit. Motherfuckers wearing suits and shit. And just, you know, it was looking more R&B. They was looking more like Christopher Williams as opposed to Christopher Wallace.
Right. Now, because I remember, and one of my favorite Wu-Tang stories is Jones Beach. It's like 300 degrees outside. DJ Rob Swift is with Akinelli, and they do a put it in your mouth. I'm hosting, right? And all of a sudden, you see, and it's hot as shit. It's like 100 degrees. You see a yellow school bus coming, and you see you, Dirty, Jizza, RZA, Ray, Ghost, and like 300 niggas come off this bus. And niggas was like, there go the Wu-Tang. And the same thing you said, like, it's 300 niggas, so everybody get in line real quick. I think the only movement that probably had niggas as scared in the 90s other than the Wu-Tang would probably be Mobb Deep, Capone and Noriega, because they had Murder Unit. Of course, you know, Biggie, C. Gutter and them dudes, and
don't forget them Dug Down. Don't forget Dug Down. You know, they had straight Decept. They had Decepticons in their motherfucking crew. Them niggas still Decepting. You know what I mean? Shout out to Rockness.
Yup. So they had a crew too. So there was only a few people that were really making noise out there, and Wu-Tang was one of them. What is your favorite record your favorite Wu-Tang record? Not the records you did, just your favorite Wu-Tang record.
Oh, that's easy. Cream, definitely, because that shit just. If you want to tell, we always say we let us tell our story our way and shit, and that defined us right there. That one motherfucking song, you know. And it's funny because I knew them rhymes for years that they said on that record, Deck and Ray. You know, this is like routine for us. So shit was just perfect and came at the perfect time, man. It was like we was built for this, and all that shit in the staircase was just practice. It's crazy.
What are the stages? Because a lot of people don't know, and people. Let me preface this by saying that in the 90s, Method Man was a real fucking star. You see, there's stars, and then there's real fucking, like, guys who walk in a room, and it changes the fucking room. And Meth was that person. There are
and
levels.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's facts. There are levels and stages of being a star. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1 would be you probably hear yourself on the radio. What was level 2 to you?
Level 2 to me. Level 2 to me. Oh, it's crazy because we had performed at the Fever, worst show ever. Level 2 for me was when we came back to the Fever off tour. We had been touring with the Alcoholics for like a month and some change, and we had to leave Philly. We had just did something in Philly. You know, when we touring with the Alcoholics, we was down south all these places. Nobody knew who the fuck we was. We almost got ran down on in motherfucking Houston and shit. It was crazy. Love Houston niggas, man. Y'all real as fuck. Anyway, shit. Where was I? Damn, where was I? I hate when I lose my spot.
You were talking about the Fever. You were talking about the Fever.
Oh yeah, okay. So it was a horrible show. So we drive from Philly to do the Fever because we had promo in Philly the next morning. We drive from Philly, go to the Fever, and this time we killed the show. People were screaming and shit. I'm like, oh shit, a whole new different vibe out this motherfucker. That's when I knew. That was level 2 for me. We don't rock the motherfucking legendary Fever out this bitch.
Level 3. What's level 3 of Method Man understanding that he is a bona fide star now?
Arsenio. When we got to do Arsenio and shit, I was like, yeah, that's a look.
How was it to go do that? Because at that time, Arsenio was the black Jimmy Fallon, the black fucking Jimmy Kimmel. He was everything. For our culture, Arsenio Hall was everything. What was that like, getting off the plane and knowing that you were going there to do something historic?
Amazing. I mean, because when we were out there doing our promo run again, we were living in Cali, and we got the label, I guess, got us tickets to Arsenio, so we got to sit in the dog pound. Nobody knew it was us. Right. You know, we were just guests. We weren't guests at this point in time. We were just audience. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was making too much noise, and one of the producers came over and said, "Keep it down" and shit. I was like, "This is a dog pound. We're supposed to be able to woo 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 woo." Right. Anyway, to come back and actually be on the show, and then, you know, being backstage with some of the other guys that were there at the time and shit, you know, Naughty by Nature, because it was like his wrap-up show. So yeah, that was major right there. That's like, you know, that's like asking, you know, like the Jackson 5 the first time they did Soul Train. You know what I mean? They knew they leveled up right there, you know.
Final level of, you know, like now what was the one thing that happened that let you know I'm a worldwide fucking thing? Like I am the shit of the night, as Ghost would say. I'm the shit of the whole night.
When they made a big hoopla about my second LP sold over 400,000 units in the first week. Unheard of now, right? Yeah, that was great. That's when I knew, like, yeah, we got, well, really all I need before that really is what pushed me past whatever, because I was still talking about on a Wu-Tang level, but as far as me, it was the Mary J. Blige record. After that, shit just went, you know, that's when I knew I was a bona fide star, because the clubs and bars turned into arenas, stadiums.
Right away, man. So you're in a 9-man group. There's different personalities. Yours cuts through. That's a fact. It really cuts through, because that's just what it was. When you thought of Wu-Tang at the time, you thought of Method Man, other than Old Dirty Bastard, because he was wild and crazy. You're pretty much the face of the Wu at that time, the breakout star. How do you deal with that? Like, because I'll give you a good example. I watched, I think it might have been of Mike's and Men, and I think you guys were like in Japan, and you were saying something, and everybody, it wasn't like they were clowning you, but, you know, it was like, you know, I could feel the tension. And I said, wow.
Nah, say it right. They was trying to clown me and shit. You right. That whole scenario right there was funny that Because we was mad as fuck at production for doing that shit. Because it's like, out of everybody in this bitch, you gonna show us arguing? I'm pretty sure there was a
I
lot of
didn't
other
like that.
people arguing and all that shit. It was like that. That shit was fucked up. Ghost even apologized to me for that shit. I'm like, for what, nigga? That shit was a real moment. I didn't give a fuck about that shit. Plus, they didn't show it, but I won that fucking argument anyway. That has nothing to do with nothing right there. That's just Wu-Tang being Wu-Tang. And you know, there was never any tension on what I was doing or how I was doing it. I never felt like I couldn't come and tell brothers, you know, the good things that I was doing outside of the clan, because I always thought that I was doing it for the clan. You know, the further I pushed, the further we gonna go. And I never had the mentality of, well, I'm bigger than all y'all motherfuckers. That never even came into play. And my proof for that is the fact that RZA will tell you, whenever we did albums, I was there every effing time. Every time. Whenever RZA wanted somebody on a single or to do a hook or something, I was there every effing time. You know what I mean? Never asking for no bread, nothing. Just this is what I do. This is my home team right here, you know? And honestly, I would do that for anybody in the game that I admired, because I always applauded excellence and shit. So it would take people back every now and then when they would see me by myself, because they knew what the experience was when the whole Wu-Tang was together. Walk in the room, get quiet, very dark, you know. But they see me by myself and it's like lighthearted, approachable, very humble. It's like, oh, all right, well, you know, I guess that was a bit of the appeal too, where the love goes a little bit further than everybody else's love, in a sense, because now they don't fear you, they just like you, and then
Right.
that like turn into love you.
Did you feel like there was a sense of jealousy at that time? And what did you do to kind of diffuse that? Did you go to people and be like, look, like I just told you, yo, I'm here for the team, bro.
Nah, that never happened, because if you noticed, everybody was dropping their own solo projects and they were all doing well. So everybody was too busy to be thinking about what the next man was doing, you know. I think the way it was played, everything was played out the way it should have been played out, with the exception of maybe one or two members, meaning like Inspector Deck, you know, A1 since day one. I think his career could have been way bigger if it was handled in a totally different manner. Even you, God, you know, just it's just the way timing was, the way things happen. They happen for a reason and shit. You know what I mean? And I honestly, I wouldn't change anything about it, good and bad.
And I want to say this, and I'll go to this right before I get off. But top 50 MCs, you're on there, Redman's on there, Inspector Deck's on there.
I
I
appreciate
clearly think that Inspector Deck is one of the most underrated MCs
absolute facts.
ever. Like
Yeah.
he was the one who set off the whole Protect Your Neck, and he set the tone for that entire song.
Yeah, and I mean, he has one of the best verses of all time, if you want to say that. One of the greatest verses of all
Yeah,
time with Triumph. Triumph, he don't even have to say the verse. The crowd say the shit for him. It's like they teaching classes on the shit he said in that fucking verse. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man.
I don't. Maybe it's because he's so quiet and he's not a loud guy. He didn't get the recognition that he thought. So anyway, you're a superstar, whatever. You're now a sex symbol. Bring the Pain comes out, and I see you go for a darker role with the eye, with the clouded eye and all that. Was that you
Yeah.
kind of trying to escape from being what they would call the pretty boy, or was it you trying to be like?
Nah, I was just a wild boy. Period. That was me being me, just expressing myself. You know, I wanted two white contacts. This is the crazy shit. Diane Martell can attest to this. Who shot Bring the Pain and All I
Mhm.
Need. She we had ordered them. I went and got fitted for them and all this shit. So when they came, they did them wrong. It was supposed to be holes in them so I could see out. Wasn't
Right.
no holes in the shits. So I was like, fuck that. I'm using one of them anyway. And I put it over one of my eyes and was like, wow, this shit look ill as fuck.
Yeah.
All right, let's shoot. Let's fucking
I,
shoot. Then we start smoking, and I was gone after that. I was, phew, man.
I always thought it was like your attempt to not be the sex symbol. And speaking of which, all I need.
Honestly, I didn't know I was one and shit. For real. Like, they, you know, I thought they did that for every fucking body. You know what I mean? And I know, trust me, I'm not naive and shit. I'm not naive, brother. I'm just saying that love, it was like, that's what Wu-Tang got all the fucking time. So it wasn't no different for me when I got it by myself. It was like, okay, that's for Wu-Tang. Anytime I was at a show, they wasn't saying Method Man. They were saying Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang. So for me, it always translated into, it's a Wu-Tang thing.
Right.
It's a Wu-Tang thing. You know what I mean? They love my crew. That's why they love me.
I tell you this. I used to be on the radio in the middle of All I Need. The phones used to light up because you know how Hot 97 was. You know,
yeah,
one phone lighting up at night is cool. When all 20 phones light up, and I pick up the phone and I hear women saying, "Is Method Man there with you?" That's different. Okay, that's a different kind of. That's a whole different kind of thing. And I remember saying, like, I don't know if Meth really understand what this is. So now you do All I Need. How did that record come about? How did you even wind up getting in the mix of that?
Well, when I wrote it, it was it's heartfelt. I wrote it from the heart, shit. But when Leo and them heard it, they wanted that shit so bad, and I said, nah, fuck that. I'm not putting that record out. I'm not putting that record out. So then you got because wanted it right after Bring the Pain. I was like, no, not putting that record out. So then Release Your Death comes out. I wasn't too crazy about Release Your Death, and I wasn't too crazy about the director either. He knows that too. He's my guy now and shit. I love him to death and shit. Steve Carr. So finally, Leor brings me in the office. Gotta do this fucking record for me, Method Man. I gotta have this record. This is a big fucking record. We're gonna get Puffy. Puffy said he'll remix it. He'll get Mary J. Blige. I said, bing, 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 bing. Okay, let's do the record. Y'all gonna get married? All right, let's go. Let's do it. Let go. And next thing I know, I'm in the studio with Mary J. Blige at Daddy's house, the old Daddy's house too, recording. Surreal, because she's just humble as fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm expecting, you know, not to even be able to go in the same room with her and shit like that. I'm still a humble nigga, you know. But I mean, it's Mary J. Blige right here, you know. At this point in time, you know, Love No Limit and all that shit. We talking about My Life had already dropped, and that shit was like blowing up the charts. So for me, little humble me, it was like, wow, she actually here. You know what I mean? She doing the record for me and shit. That shit is dope. And that wasn't my first time meeting her. I met her at Puffy's party. There's a picture of me and Big where Big got on a suit and I got the afro out and I'm dressed like I just came in off the block because I had just came in off the block, my dude. Like straight like that. And I just showed up for Big, who asked me to come do the song with him. And Mary was there, and that's when I first met her, and she was like, yo, Bring the Pain? That's my shit right there. I was like, yeah, Love No Limit is my shit, man. I ain't gonna sit here and sing it for you, but god damn. And that was it. That was enough said right then and there. So I didn't think nothing of it. So when she agreed to do the record, I was like, wow, she really, really, you know, dig a nigga, you know, fan on some fan shit. Like, I'm a fan of hers, you know. It's dope.
And next thing you know, that shit is out of here. So your relationship with Bad Boy is great, actually. I mean, you were the only person that had a feature on Biggie's first album, right?
That was Biggie's doing. That was Biggie's doing. And shout out to Tracy Waples for making that happen. Tracy Waples was, you know, major. I mean, still major to me and shit. She the reason I got my deal and shit. Love her. She orchestrated that, you know, slid the dude through and shit. And me and Big hit it off day one, you know. And even outside of that, I used to go check him every now and then and shit. You know, we run into each other and shit. Puffy, solid always. I always thought he was a smart dude and shit. A little arrogant, but I knew niggas like that all my life, you know what I mean? And it's, what can I say and shit, man? I kept great relationships, brother. Great ones.
Realest conversation you ever had with Big?
Realest conversation I ever had with Big. Damn, I can't even put that one out there and shit, because that was on some, you know, casual shit. But I tell you this, Big was in my, we used to buy cars from the same guy, this dude, Rob and shit. And he was sitting in the back of my Lexus Land Cruiser. And I guess his shit was getting repaired, whatever, and shit. He was there. So we drive off to go and smoke. So I guess some kids heard that we was there, because by the time I pulled back, it was a crowd of kids there and shit. So, you know, Shorty's is next to the window. Biggie's in the back. I got tents up, so they don't know he back there and shit. Well, they know he in the area. It's like, yo, Meth, let me get your autograph, this kid and shit. Let me get your autograph, sign right here and shit. Yo, where Biggie? I heard Biggie was out here, man. did you hear that Tupac song and shit? He's like, hit it. I was like, nah, I ain't hear it. He was like, yeah, you know, he was talking about this, that, and the third, and I fucked your wife and all that shit. I was like, oh, yeah? Look in the back seat. Nigga looked in the back seat. He's like, oh, shit, Big, let me get your autograph and shit. Big still signed the autograph, whatever. You know what I mean? But you could see it in his face. It was like, this shit is a problem right here. That shit right here is a problem and shit. You know what I mean? But the real talk conversation can't have that. Can't really tell you what that was about.
Did you ever, without putting it out there, did you ever speak to Biggie about the danger of the East Coast, West Coast thing? Because it was back in the days when we were doing this, and people, I need to preface this by saying, Method Man and myself are veterans of the 90s. Everything that happened with that situation, we actually lived that. We lived that. For example, the day that Biggie passed away, I didn't have a two-way pager, I had a one-way pager. We didn't have two ways in smartphones. Yeah. It was 7 o'clock in the morning, and somebody woke me up, and they said, on my pager, it said the Notorious B.I.G. has passed away. And I literally started screaming. And I ran up, I got dressed, and I ran to Hot 97 because Meth can tell you at that time, Hot 97 was the epicenter of all hip-hop music. So if you wanted news, you wanted anything, you went there. You know, do you remember where you were when that happened?
I think, nigga, I was in Cali, and I got a two-way text message, a two-way page message from one of Puff's artists. I ain't gonna say who, but they was more or less like, yo, Big got shot and shit. I'm thinking in my head like, nigga, fuck, man. Because I had just seen them like the day before that. You know what I mean? At Billboard Live was the name of the club, I believe, at the time. Halle Berry was in that bitch. I was like, whoa. But I just seen him and shit. And, you know, he on crutches. Motherfucking C's tried to kill me. I'm like, yeah, we laughed a little bit and shit, left it at that. Then I broke out. I never got a chance to tell him anything or how I felt about him being there. It was just good in my eyes to see him there. You know, like, nigga, he ain't scared. This Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn. It was good to see him there and shit. And then I got that news. And it was like, oh, shit. We were staying at the Oakwoods. You know what I mean? Then the next thing I know, everybody texting like, yo, y'all staying here? Yo, everybody leaving. Everybody. I'm like, what the fuck is everybody leaving for? Ain't nobody after y'all niggas. Ain't nobody trying to fuck with y'all niggas. This is when the industry talk gets bigger than the industry and shit, to a point where the industry starts to believe the fucking lie, and they're on the inside looking out. They know the truth. They know it wasn't an East Coast, West Coast thing. So when Big got hit, fucking sucks. But when Big got hit and shit, my whole outlook was they were after that, not anybody from New York. Their assessment was, I'm getting the fuck out of here. They killing New York niggas, which is a bad narrative to put on anything, because it was not like that at all. And I'll tell you, even after that, days after that, we were out and about in L.A. because we were working on our album, and niggas are showing us love straight like that and shit, you know? And a lot of them niggas was saying, yo, that shit's fucked up. What happened to your boy and shit? It's just fucked up. What happened to your boy and shit, you know?
Wow, that's crazy. Ooh,
well, we was living there. Yeah.
Ooh. I gotta move on, man.
Yeah. Just know that Cali niggas is different. Just know that, man. Don't go playing with them niggas. And you ain't supposed to play with nobody nowhere and shit. Them niggas there, though, they a little different, man. They got generations of that shit, B.
And people, if you don't know about how Cali dudes get down, they have absolutely no respect for your fucking life. Don't get it even twisted in 10 seconds about how any of this shit could go. Detroit and California actually remind me of the places that Detroit, Chicago, California, your life don't mean a motherfucking thing. So if you want to play with them dudes out there, absolutely wrong thing to do. That's why when Tekashi 6ix9ine was playing with Chief Keef, I was like, this is an absolute no. You need to stay the fuck away from that. So back to acting, and I'm going to leave you on this. You played on Oz, which is an HBO series that depicts jail. What was it like being on that set? Because for me, watching it, it was so jail that I actually had to stop watching it because I felt I was in jail. What was it like on that set?
They shot that in Chelsea, right where the meatpacking in the meatpacking district. Crazy, right? In one of those buildings, right upstairs. Take the elevator up to the top. They had a big warehouse space, and they built the sets there. Most of the actors spent more time in the jailhouse set, where the glass, the jail cells, and all that shit. A little bit of the time was spent in the lunchroom. Those two sets I know for a fact were prevalent in the series. A lot of things happened in those two areas. I mean, you know, by the time I got there, Adebisi was already out of there. You know what I mean? Wangler was already out of there. A lot of the core characters were gone already and shit, but some of the originals were still there, like Tobias Beecher, Schillinger. He came in my dress room and shit. Me and the biker dude, they used to wear the bandana from Biohazard. Me and him had the same dressing room and shit. And I remember he had this book, his hit book of, you know, rock and roll, dude. You know what I'm saying? He had a little hit squad book, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever. And I remember Schillinger came in there, said what's up, you know, made a little joke and shit. JK made a little joke. I thought he was funny as hell and shit. And then Beecher came up in there. Now, he plays that part so well, I'm a little uncomfortable because he's sitting on the bed with dude, and and I'm sitting here like I'm their audience, and they're like, ha, 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 pointing at these pictures of, you know, ass-naked groupies and shit. You know what I mean? It's weird. Shit crazy.
That shit was crazy. That's crazy. Final question. Power Book 2. You're playing a lawyer. How did you wind up getting involved in this? Did 50 call you personally? What was the process?
No, but I imagine he was instrumental in the choices being made up there. That's for sure, you know. And all I had to do was, you know, show that I had the chops to get the job and then do the job. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be sitting on the show right now if I didn't do that. But I think, yeah, Fifth probably did have a hand in that, absolutely, and Courtney as well. But then I'll say 50%. Let's say 50% 50, 25% Courtney, 25% me, because I brought the goods.
Without dropping the whole thing, what can we expect? A lot of action, backstory. What can we expect?
Well, I mean, if you got till September 6th, if you ain't already tuned in to Power for the first 6 seasons of the original series, you got time to catch up. You know, it takes place 2 days after, so it's going to stay true to the Power fans and the core fans. You know, that its roots are always going to be stuck right there with Omari, Tommy, you know, Angela, with Keisha, right? But this right here is more focused on Michael, Tariq, and he's our leading man. He's doing an excellent job, and we're going to rally behind him and make sure he gets his proper accolades.
He's the man. But when it comes close, I'm going to have to grab him and get him on here because I'm waiting for it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to steal cable in order to get this. Because I'm an internet. I don't really watch television, but I guarantee you I will probably either steal cable or I will ask you for your password, sir.
All right, and I'm going to send you some edibles with it.
I don't know if I can handle that, man. We'll have that conversation on the phone, man. I love you. I thank you for coming through, bro. You know you're my brother. Anything that you need from me, you know I always fuck with you. We always been like that. And I just want to publicly say I love you, man.
Oh, I love you too, brother. Only thing, I want one thing from you. All I want from you, Scoop, is that you have happiness for the rest of your days, brother.
Well, listen, if I could get that shit, that's another story, bro. We'll talk on the phone. I'll catch you later, brother. Be safe.
I will, brother. Peace.
That's my man right there, Meth.